Has been huge for us anime fans. We have continuously gotten new, intriguing titles, as well as some sequels, and it is just as much as true for this season as it was for the previous season. One title in particular appears to have gotten the attention of both shonen and non-shonen anime fans alike. That's right, as you might have already recognized the anime by this video's title, we are going to be talking about the hype anime of this season, Tokyo Revengers. It is a different kind of shonen, one that centers around the idea of delinquents and uses time travel as the foundations for its premise. Though what makes this anime such an enjoyable watch isn't the concept of time traveling or the impending disasters of the butterfly effect, or a badass protagonist. No, it's the emotional roller coaster, things going terribly wrong, what is and what's not the right thing to do, the moral code, and to top it all off, this story is about the depth and fragility of teenage friendship. What Tokyo Revengers excels at isn't a single aspect, it's the collective combination of all these different concepts, subtly merged together to create an intense and immersive series. You won't find the narrative clever or cunning, as was the case with Steins Gate, but if you want to immerse yourself into a story, project yourself onto the characters, develop an emotional connection with them, wonder about how a certain character would act in a foreseeable situation, then this anime is definitely for you. The story begins with a boy, or rather a guy named Takamichi. He is a 26-year-old nobody who works part-time at a convenience store and constantly gets yelled at by his manager. It goes without saying that he isn't doing well. There isn't much going on in his life. He gets laughed at by kids and has lost all hope for the future. Despite being a full-on adult, he is a pathetic pushover. One day, he gets the news of his former girlfriend's death. She was murdered by the hands of Tokyo's infamous delinquent gang, and this only further instates his despair. But he is powerless. Regret is the only thing he can do. However, just then, as he is on the railway platform, accidentally, or perhaps deliberately, he gets pushed in front of the train and sees his life flashing before his eyes. The face he remembers in his final moments wasn't the face of his parents or friends. It was his former girlfriend, Hinata's face.
え？ 嘘。死ぬと思った瞬間、思い出したのは親でも友達でもなく、橘ひなただった。
However, instead of getting crushed by the train, he time leaps 12 years into the past.
え？解禁にボンタン？なんだこのダッセーヤンキーは！俺だ！中学生の俺だ！ダサすぎる！
Back to the time when he was in middle school and was still dating his former girlfriend. Back to the time when he was a delinquent. Back to the time period when things went wrong and his life went downhill. Thus, in turn, getting a second shot at life. I don't want to spoil anything, even the plot twist that happened in the first episode, so I'll leave the plot here. Instead, let's take a look at the other aspects of this show, and what can you expect if you are new to the series. The story centers around delinquents, which is of course an interesting idea, and considering how delinquents are social outlaws and they generally tend to be portrayed in a negative manner in several different anime stories. But hey, remember pirates from One Piece? They are portrayed as free men of the sea, which is genius, and anyone who has read or watched One Piece will agree with me on this. Oda has made us look at the idea of pirates in a different light. Just because someone is a pirate doesn't mean they are inherently evil. It depends on the individual and their motivations. Same is the case with delinquents in Tokyo Revengers. At least to some extent. The idea is indeed romanticized a little, but the consequences of being a delinquent and whether or not it is a wise choice in the first place, they are not romanticized. Roaming the streets on a bike together with friends is the romanticized idea of delinquents, but it is not what everyone who becomes a delinquent wants to do. To put it bluntly, the definition of a delinquent is made to be arbitrary.
不良がダセって言われる時代だろ。
そっか。この頃からそんな風に言われてんだ。
兄貴の時代はさ、この辺りにもすっげえ数の暴走族がいてさ、その辺を直感コール鳴らして走ってた。みんな肩肘張ってさ。
There are consequences, severe consequences, and the main character, Takamichi, has to live through them over and over again. The regrets will only keep piling up, and despite being a crybaby, he will have no other choice but to keep pushing forward, regardless of how bleak the situation may be. The plot only continues to get more convoluted, and the people he must save also continue to increase. You may not like the crybaby protagonist, who is a pushover despite being mentally 10 years older than all of the other middle schoolers around him, but this too will start to change as the story goes on. Takamichi may seem like your usual shonen protagonist who uses determination and willpower to overcome situations, but this isn't the case. What makes Tokyo Revengers different is that the story takes place in the real world. Of course, since he is the protagonist, there will indeed be plot convenience, but he won't be able to suddenly get stronger as is often the case in other shonen anime. You'll have to get used to the weak protagonist getting pushed around, and honestly, that is a strong point of this story. Strength isn't just physical power. It doesn't mean standing on top of everyone else. Rather, it means to win other people's hearts, and that in itself is the greatness of our crybaby protagonist. He knows he has no other choice. He may be a fully grown adult in the body of a middle schooler, but his persona was still weak. Now, it has to change. Unless Takamichi changes, the past won't change either. And such a significant change doesn't just happen overnight.
東京卍會清正勝つには俺を殺すしかねえぞ
In many ways, this anime is a true underdog story. I know I said that this anime may not seem cunning or clever like Steins Gate, but it handles its own narrative quite well. The foreshadowings, plot twists, betrayals, and trust, you'll find everything. I'd say the other major characters can often be more likable than the protagonist. There are plenty of genuinely lovable characters with their unique personas. So you can think of Tokyo Revengers as more of a character-oriented series. So why should you watch Tokyo Revengers? It is a refreshing, realistic kind of shonen that follows a seemingly exciting but considerably bleak narrative. Both the perks and consequences of becoming a delinquent are well portrayed, and in more ways than one, it is a true underdog story. I'd say, if you decide to watch this, be patient and let the story flow naturally. You'll definitely enjoy the initial few episodes, but remember to stick around. It will become something more before you know it. So there you go, guys. These are my thoughts on Tokyo Revengers. I also considered bits of the manga while touching upon the ideas of this anime, so if you enjoyed the anime, you should definitely go for the manga too. Alright, now I'm very interested in hearing your thoughts. Are you planning on watching this? Have you already watched it? In that case, what do you think of it? Feel free to go wild in the comments section down below. Press the like button if you enjoyed the video and subscribe to the channel if you're interested in more videos like this one. I have a separate playlist of similar why you should watch videos with different titles, so if you're looking for recommendations, you can always check it out. Well then, as always, thank you for watching. I'm the Bearded Saiyan. I'll see you in my next one.